close your eyes and open it, you'd swear you're in Berlin. It looked like Berlin, 100%. It's all been rebuilt. You won't recognize Christchurch if you go back there now. After the quake, everything is new. Everything's been rebuilt. There's some suburbs that do not exist anymore.
Yeah, it was very strange. I know that there had been a really bad earthquake there previously, but it had been years before, and they still had like condemned buildings that they hadn't torn down.
Yes, and of course it was such a small town, and New Zealand only has 5,000. They don't have the capital to just rebuild the city. So these, actually, as I say that, I get flipping goosebumps. These things take time, and like, oh my goodness,
yeah,
these things take time.
Yeah, they really do.
But I mean, amazing place. Like New Zealand, there's Hanner Springs, the hot springs, and the wineries. The really good wine that they've got there, Annecy. And I've tried to go there at least twice a year. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was a trip of a lifetime for sure. And while we were there, we were thinking, well, actually, when we were planning, we were thinking we could just pop over to Australia. Like, you look at the globe, it's right there.
It's 3 hours it is over the strait.
Yeah. Right. It's like more hours in a plane. It's not like a 30-minute air taxi, right? It was like, no. We already flew, all these hours from Central Texas. Like, no more planes, please.
I believe you, man. I believe you.
So we are live now.
We've been live for actually a couple of minutes now. I'm just letting you guys go on. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi everyone. This is our cold open.
Hey, Mark Tinderholt's in the audience. Stephanie's here. Awesome. Hey everybody, what's going on? Yes, Mark, we are live. I hit the live button. There was a fantastic conversation about New Zealand going, so I wasn't going to stop that.
Yeah, we're just vibing. So yeah, we can officially start.
All right, so officially start. You make it sound so official.
Well, we can say action, so I know where to cut it and everything.
And action. HashiCube on CodeSpaces. HashiStack in minutes. Good evening, everybody. Good morning. Riaan is actually coming to us from Australia right now. So good morning to you, good sir. Good evening, Damien. How are you doing this evening?
I am fantastic, actually. I have completed my office restructuring.
Yeah, your background looks fantastic now.
Thank you. I painted all the walls. I got some lights up. I'm ecstatic. This finally feels like a place that I want to spend 40 hours a week in.
Awesome.
After spending literally years in this chair, now it feels like home. So. But yes, other than that, I'm doing great. Doing a little bit of a movie marathon with my 18-year-old tonight, and took a short break to talk to you folks about HashiCube on CodeSpaces.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
So Riaan was talking to. So Riaan is actually a HashiCorp ambassador. Congratulations, good sir. And so obviously I work for HashiCorp too, so this feels a tiny little bit incestuous, but he had such an amazing thing that he wanted to talk about. I was like, oh, I got to get you on. This is we have to do this. So I'm dipping into the very deep well of amazing talent of the HashiCorp ambassador crew, and we were talking about how it would be great to get like a spin up a lab environment quickly and easily, and how to get folks started on all of the different products. Because let's be honest, if you want to get into Terraform, you got to install a bunch of stuff, and then you have to have a cloud environment to do the things on. If you want to install Vault on top of that, then you've got to run through some more hoops and stuff like that. And well, so you know what? I'm going to shut up because I'm literally like, I'm so excited. I'm stealing all of your thunder. I'm a horrible
You're not
host.
at all, but you are so right. You are so right. These things are complex, and with the DevOps life cycle, and if you have to do Vault policies or you have to nomad jobs or anything like that, it becomes even more difficult.
Right, and if you're just trying to learn that, then and you're trying to learn that and connect everything together, you're in a world of pain.
Yes, and because it starts from installing it, then you need to pick the right binary, because you might be on an ARM Mac, or your build agent is AMD 64, and now there's disparity over here. And then just to get these things plugged in, and this is exactly where I was about 5 years ago. I mean, I used CloudFormation and stuff, but I didn't know Terraform, and I certainly didn't know Vault. And here I was as a consultant on a project that used Terraform Enterprise, Vault Enterprise, with still the console backend when RAF didn't exist back then, and getting secrets from Ansible on Ansible Tower, and all being driven through Jenkins. And I just looked at this. I was completely overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. I was in a world of hurt.
So, like I said, I have completely jumped the gun. Riaan, welcome to the show. Welcome to VBram.
Welcome.
It is a pleasure to have you on. I'm sorry. I guess when you started talking about HashiCube, your excitement became infectious, and I was just like, I just want to see all the things now. Tell us about yourself. What got you into this, and actually, how did you get into the ambassador program too? I'm curious to know, because you were an ambassador long before I came on.
I was, so my name is Riaan Nolan. I come from South Africa. I worked in Berlin for a couple of years, 3 years. I worked in Portugal, a little bit in China, and now Australia is my home since 2019. And this is actually where I was a consultant, and I started using the HashiCorp stuff. So Packer and Vagrant, I used a little bit to build developer environments and build machine images. But then when I came to Australia as a consultant, I really started knuckling down, getting to use Terraform, like I said, Terraform Enterprise back then on AWS and Vault. And so I was living at that stage about two hours out of Sydney, and there was no reception on the train, and I needed a lab that I could practice with, and I can't connect to the cloud. So then I thought, well, I know Vagrant. I'm going to use Vagrant and build a machine that I can use on the train and have Terraform up with local stack, believe it or not. So I can learn how to practice local stack. I've got my AWS Tower on there, or my Ansible, and I can run Jenkins in this lab, and that's where HashiCube got created. I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I can get to save my code. I can make some progress, check this into revision control, and just shut my laptop down. When I can start on the same page again. And hopefully this, I've always been an open source guy. I mean, I've been using Linux since the year 2000. So I really do believe in this philosophy, and this, the DevOps philosophy really resonate with me. Sharing is caring, continuous learning, no blame culture, and all of these things just started, got me to create HashiCube.
So this started because you had that's amazing. This started because you had a commute with no internet, and you needed an environment to play in, and that was the genesis of all of this. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was the genesis. It's really evolved. I mean, it evolved in several stages. I first participated in HashiTalks, and then with the ARM laptops coming out, I could no longer run these Vagrant VirtualBox machines, and then I had to try to get this onto Docker, and then I got this to work, and then I tried to get System D in a Docker to run, and I finally got System D to run, which means I could then install a Docker daemon inside there, because I didn't want to pollute the guys' laptops with dangling Docker containers, all of that. I just wanted to encapsulate this into a VirtualBox, or into a Vagrant box, and if you're done, they can destroy it and trash it. And then about 4 months ago, a fellow ambassador, Adriana Vilela, who's on the who's on the Open Telemetry panel, she built a CodeSpace for Open Telemetry, and she's been a long-time user of HashiCube. God bless her soul. She does crazy things. She runs Kubernetes inside of Nomad, and she spoke about this at HashiTalks. So then she asked me on LinkedIn, in her post, when am I going to create a dev container for HashiCube? And so this is where this thing really started evolving. CodeSpaces. This was just the next evolution, and I didn't actually think it was going to go that far. I couldn't envision this at first. It very much was a slow start. Okay, I can get the Docker daemon running. Now I can build it, and then I was like, oh my goodness, here's my Vault live, here's my Nomad live, and now this is the next generation of developer environment for DevOps guys.
Awesome. Well, how do you want to show it off tonight? Well, this show is all about show and tell. So we've got to kick the tires on it, and we've got to show other people how to get to it so they can play with it as well. How do we want to do it?
I can share my screen. Let me just share a screen.
So while Riaan is doing that, during his introduction, during him talking about kind of the genesis of the product or the project where it is now, I forked the repo over to my personal GitHub. I fired up the CodeSpace. It's running, right? And if y'all don't know, GitHub Codespaces is free for the first 60 hours a month on personal plans, and then it's a pay-as-you-go pricing after that. So this is literally like zero cost for the first 60 hours on a personal plan. But make sure you stop your CodeSpace. Don't let it run.
It stops automatically.
Oh, so it does. It does. Okay.
30 minutes inactive. I've been using this thing full on. I've not paid a cent. And thank you, GitHub. Thank you for that. That's incredible. Right. So basically, what you would do is you would go to the HashiCube website and you would head over to the GitHub over here. And then, like Damien said, you have to fork it because then you'll have access to this code space that you can launch on your own little environment, right? Your own little repository. And so when you launch it, you'll basically see this. There's a little message of the day that I installed for you. And you can then look at all the integrations over here to the left. So all of these correspond to a menu item over here. So if you look at, let's say, Ansible Tower, then you can see that Ansible Tower is how you bring Ansible Tower up and running and log into it. And so this is almost working on the code space, with the exception that there's some CRSF token that they've updated it. And so I'm unable to log in because I need to whitelist this domain. But the rest is kind of working. So when you do this, you'll see this. And so basically then if you go bash vault.sh, what you are going to do is you are going to execute this bash file in Vault. So I left you some links at the top, and I tried to keep everything very aligned to what the documentation says. So if they say, install Vault, then I'm putting it over here. So the HashiCube runs enterprise as well. If you just drop the license in there, license HCLIC, you can run enterprise versions on this, even in the code space.
Oh, nice.
And yes, and you can run it then. So you just drop your license.hclic file in the folder, like into Vault or Nomad or Consul, and you do Vagrant up minus provision, or you do this bash Vault, and it's going to detect it and download the enterprise version and install it for you. And I set a little config file, nothing too serious, but I set a little systemd startup file, and I've got a little bit of a config file with some links, helpful links. I enable the telemetry for you, and then I set some stuff. So when you then do this, and maybe I'll just do this for you, is we can go here and we can just paste that. What it's going to do is within a minute, it will detect your architecture that you're on. It'll download Vault for you. It'll initialize and unseal it for you and print out a root token. And the same, basically, while this is busy installing, the same with Consul, right? And the same with Nomad, where I've got Trafic running for you, and the same with Boundary. So if we just give it one more second, it should print us out the token over here. You can see it's starting up Vault here. It started the systemd service now. And then it's initializing it, unsealing it. So it gives us this token. And if we copy this token and we go here to ports and we look for 8200, which is this guy, and we click here in this little globe, it will open up Vault. So at the moment, it's private, right? But you can literally right-click on this and go port visibility and go public. And now you can hook this into your GitHub Actions or your Jenkins, and this is incredibly powerful because you don't need compute anywhere else. This is right here in your in your developer environment. And so maybe I'll just show you a small little integration. Well, if you go bash and you go databases, so database is over here, and we are like I integrated MySQL and Postgres. So we'll just hit MySQL. So it'll check that Vault is running for us. It's going to download a Docker container for us, a Docker MySQL, and configure it with a password that we put in there and pass it as a container argument. And then it'll install MySQL client for us. It'll then, using the Vault token, create a role for MySQL, give it a little bit of a config with a TTL, set our query to create database users, and list these database users. And so this question came about when some client of us asked us, so what happens if Vault is down? Like, who is expiring the user? And then I could show him, well, check, if I kill Vault, your user stays here. So it's actually Vault that reaches into your MySQL and expires this user, rotates, removes this user. And so this lab has helped me tremendously. I'm a consultant, so I drop into all sorts of environments.
Right.
And, with my colleagues that I inherit from this project that I'm on, they are also, sometimes we install stuff. They also, like me, they don't know what Vault is or how this works. As you know, writing the certificate is only one part of it, and so I like to give them this lab and tell them, well, check, it's not really that crazy. It's not really that different from anything else you are going to run. You can run it and you can practice with it on your local.
On your train ride home.
Yeah. So in addition to the 9 HashiCorp products that you can run on CodeSpaces, right? And what you're looking at here, folks, is effectively the VS Code interface in a browser. CodeSpaces is a virtual machine behind the scenes. How many other products do you have running in this system, Riaan?
So I can show you. So over here, what I've done is I explained a little bit about it, but here you can see, so there's Argo CD and Jenkins and Kubernetes, Local Stack, GitLab, AWX Tower, New Relic to monitor Kubernetes, and then obviously the Grafana and Prometheus. So we could discover a little bit of the telemetry monitoring for Consul, Nomad, and Vault. And then there's some Cerebro to manage your Kibana, your Elasticsearch indexes. And there's Ansible and Fabio and Trafic. There's Trafic. So here you can see there's Trafic running over here, and there's the Fabio load balancer. And so you can quite go into here and maybe change this. I don't think Bash exists there, but you can shell into your Trafic instance. So this is a lab 100% that you can use. So and then here you can see Vault is hooked up with MySQL, and here's the user that it created. And if you go to Vault and you go to the secrets engines, you'll see the database has been enabled for us. And if you then want to see how did we do this, well, you can then go into the mysql.sh and you can literally copy and paste these commands, right? You can literally copy and paste this command, and you can paste it into your terminal over here, and you will get exactly what I'm doing here. So I try to not abstract it so much that people get lost. This is, after all, it's a lab, and people, the more you use it, the better you're going to understand it. So with this mentality, I approach this whole thing of learning while doing. Yeah. Yes, and I mean, you can, if you then want to do, we can do Bash, and we can do Minikube and minikube.sh, and we'll leave this running, and it'll bring up Kubernetes for us, and with a couple of workloads for us using Helm, and so it's kind of basically built like a Lego. So we do the base tools, which installs our curl, wget stuff for us. Then we put a Docker layer in front of it. So maybe if I can show you here, if you look at this little diagram, maybe I can just make it a little bit bigger. So if you look at this little diagram over here, then if you think this is your laptop and your cloud PC, And so you can run either a Mac, a Windows, or Linux, or it's a cloud VM. And then on top of this, we're going to install either Vagrant or Docker or VirtualBox. And then this is going to bring up Ubuntu, the latest version of Ubuntu for us. And now these are the provisioners. So if we say Vagrant up -- provision, or we say bash vault.sh, then it's going to install Vault for us. And similarly, if we are going to do bash boundary /boundary.sh, it will install Boundary for us. Now, once we've got Nomad running, we can have Kubernetes running side by side, and then we can put some workloads on top of Nomad, like this little Node.js, the T-Rex game that I put on there, so that you can compare how do these things work side by side. What's the differences between them, right? And it's all running in a Docker container. It's incredible. It is so light and fluffy. It's almost like a cupcake, you know.
That's a great quote.
It's so light and fluffy, you know, and afterwards you can just trash it and throw it away, and you are back to square one. Chris, I think you're on mute.
See, you think we're professionals, but we're absolutely not. No, I am.
We're just humans, man. We're just humans, you know.
So you said that you're a consultant and that you've been using this in your consultative capacity with your customers as well. Do they then leverage this for like internal training, and like what are they using it for? Like when you show somebody this amazing, what do they do with it?
Well, first of all, they use it as a lab, and I use it because I'm a Terraform trainer. I definitely use it to spin up POCs, and you know, sometimes you drop in. You know, HashiCorp tools are so nice, DevOps tools are so nice, but it's quite complex. Like if you just talk CI/CD, you've got Azure DevOps, GitLab, GitHub, you know, deploy, co-deploy, Circle CI, Argo CD. The list goes on. Mm-hmm. So what they then do is they use it as a lab to just become familiar. I use it when I teach Terraform to them, and then I go as far as writing a little module with them. So if you go here into local stack, I'll show you. Then I've got some Terraform code here that I show them null resources and how to use little modules, and you know, with the provider, I show them how to use these providers, and then I step it up with local stack. We can create an S3 bucket without them needing the cloud. And then I step it up, and later on the next day I show them, well, now we're going to use a module from the Forge, and then I spin up HashiCube on either GCP or AWS or Azure, wherever they are. And then, you know, I run usually like Vagrant up as provision with all of this, like up to Ansible Tower. And then I tell them, look, the sky is literally the limit with Terraform. You know, with these tools, the sky is the limit. These, you know, it likens when back in 2000, when I discovered Linux, I was doing MCSE, Microsoft MCSE. But when I logged onto Linux, I truly felt that anything was possible. If I wanted a web server, I could get it. If I wanted postfix, you know, mail server, DNS bind, I could run anything, Squid. You know, it felt so powerful, like limited by only your imagination. And HashiCorp tools, to me, it rekindled that feeling. It gives me that goosebumps, you know, like if I need to build an image, build it anywhere, I can run this thing. You know, it's really nice. So then I drop this lab in for them, and I use it for them as their training. And from there on, we step it up. We go into production where we now use their code, and we start putting their modules in there and versioning these stuff into Terraform Cloud. But if you go here, if you look at the Jenkins one, for example, a client that we had was using Jenkins, and they wanted to use Vault for secrets. So here I show them how to use Vault for your secrets. But then I said, look, you don't have to host Vault. You can literally use Vault secrets. And so I put in Vault secrets for them to fetch the secrets. I show them how they can configure it, which should be somewhere here. vault secrets. And then I showed them, well, if you want to pass the secret on to Terraform, then we're going to use Terraform in here. And we're going to, here's a little Jenkins file which installs Terraform for you and uses Terraform Cloud. And so for me, the real value comes at how can a guy use this? Like I know Vault solves the secret dilemma, but how is this guy going to use it? And so the good feeling I get out of this is when I can show him, well, here's a Jenkins with a vault locally and a vault secrets, and you can run Terraform CLI, mind you, and using Terraform Cloud. So when I can smash these things together and I can really see, when they see this is my way out, this is how I'm gonna do it, that aha moment is gold. It's gold. It feels so good. Never gets old.
Awesome. Okay, well,
I'll stop sharing my screen and you guys could, if you wanted to drive it, Damien, you've been bragging about this, Chris.
Well, in the spirit of you building an idiot-proof box, I am going to rise to the occasion, because whenever somebody builds an idiot-proof box, they build a bigger and better idiot. Therefore, here we go. All right, let's do this. All right. I am on GitHub. I am logged in as myself. Oh, hold on. I've got my Gitpod. Never mind. Oh, my Gitpod plugin is screwing me up. CodeSpaces. Create a CodeSpace on. Oh wait, no. I want to fork this, don't I?
Yep.
Yes.
HashiCube. Am I gonna? Yeah, I'll keep it in there.
Now I haven't tried it, but I'm assuming if you just try to fire up a CodeSpace on that unforked repo, it would probably just maybe.
I didn't know you could do it because I had to use my kid's laptop. He's 10 years old, but he's got a GitHub account now, and I was using it to demo this thing and figure out if it's going to work. So
wait, your kid is 10 years old and he has a GitHub account, or your laptop is 10 years old and your kid has a GitHub account?
No, my little boy, he's 10 years old, so he doesn't know what this stuff is. But
and he's already got a GitHub account? This is amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, piecemeal, So, he has to start somewhere, and then later on you can see, remember GitHub? This is what it's actually doing, So, they're 10 years old, man. They just want to play VR and stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. I've been spending way too much time on Elden Ring recently. All right.
Or not enough time.
I'm almost at 300 hours. It's way too much time. That's a master's program.
That is, right. Chris. So if you click on the link at the bottom right, you see the blue. What it's doing now actually is it's pulling the container on GitHub container registry.
There we go.
There's a container that I built that already has the base packages installed. It's about 250 meg that it's busy pulling there. But this is what it's now doing for you and starting up this code space. And then you can see the logs, what it's actually doing here now. For those who's interested to, I always lift the lid. I'm an engineer by heart. I want to see how the wires are connected at the back, and and you'll see this thing start up now, and then
dun, dun, dun.
And so now what it's doing is it's going to run a couple of startup scripts for you. So if you just give it a second, it's going to print out this little message of the day for you. And now you can really just copy and paste these commands, and that's your entry point. It's so if you want to bring up Nomad, for example, or Vault, you could bring up Vault right now. And so it's going to clear some Docker containers, but it's going to see our Docker isn't installed. So it's going to install it for us and bring up Consul so that these workloads can register in Consul. And it's also creating some Consul key value that Fabio load balancer is using to get the zero config roots out of it. And then there's going to be Fabio and Nomad, Fabio and Tafik running in Nomad. But now if you see, that's your Consul. That should be live. maybe it's just.
Did I hit the wrong button? Did I need to make it public?
Sorry, it's got a couple of ports. So you must go to the 8500 port. You see 8500, and if you click that, open in browser. Yeah, you can make it public, but if you open it in a browser, that's going to open up Consuna of it. Because Consuna's got a couple of ports and exposes all of them.
Nice.
And it should be. I always laugh at my son. We're also talking about people not knowing and whatever. So I say there's no dumb questions. There's only dumb people. And he
That's
looks at me
right.
like this. He couldn't believe I said that. It was so funny. So and yeah, so there's your console. And as these Nomad now come online, you'll start seeing the jobs register as console services. So now
Nice.
it's installing the CNI plugin for us after setting the config for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it will tail, you'll see there's this neat little trick where you tail a log file and then use set to break out of it. So I'm looking for node registration complete. You know there where it says terminated?
Mm-hmm.
That's my tail that I pipe to set. I tail the log file and then I pipe it to set. And so now you can literally click on the ports and go to port 4646 at the very top. And if you open up that, then you'll see Nomad, and these jobs will now be coming online. So you'll see in your terminal, it's busy now deploying these workloads.
Awesome. This is amazing.
Yes, and this just makes it so easy for people to start using these tools because the adoption.
Yes. Is seconds. It's less than a minute. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also was quite pleased when I got it to work. The secret
I'll
sauce
bet you were.
was really getting system D, and that was a bastard in itself. Because you need to configure temp fs, and then you can't have overlay fs for Docker on top of overlay fs. Things you cannot do that, so you've got to use this VFS or something, and then it slows to a crawl. But then I was like, wait a minute, I've got tempfs that I can mount into varlib Docker over here. And now I can run Docker daemon inside of a Docker container. And then I was really well and truly off to the races. So
years ago, the V Brown Bag had a thing called, I think it was Auto Lab. And it was.
I was just going to talk. Alistair would love to be on here right now. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it was. It would stand up a VMware environment locally, and that was a hodgepodge of PowerShell and Batch, right? Like the actual command, like Windows command prompt stuff. Totally different universe compared to what we're showing here now. We're living in the future.
I come from a data center where we used to rack servers, and you have to configure RAID remotely, and I mean, I think that a lot of the youngsters coming into this DevOps space lack this history. They know there's something that happened there, but this can really help show them what is, most people don't know that Docker networking uses IP tables. So, I mean, the stuff comes a long way. We're still using tools that we had back then.
Oh, yeah.
It really is astonishing, because when he started talking about this, Damien, I was thinking about Autolab. That was my first environment back in the day. That Alistair. So the gentleman, Riaan, the gentleman that started V Brown Bag, one of the gentlemen that started it, his name is Alistair Cook, and he lives in New Zealand. And we chat with him on a regular occasion. And back in the day, he made this thing called Autolab. I believe the last version was 1.5 or something, and that was what we used our old VMUG VMware licenses with ESX, 4.0 or 5, whatever the oldest kludgiest version you can think of was to assemble all of this, and to just be able to go to CodeSpaces and spin up a Docker environment on a cloud system that's been provided for free is life changing. This is fantastic. I'm actually as an employee of HashiCorp, I'm hosting a webinar next week to prepare people for the Terraform certification, how to study for and prepare for the Terraform cert, and I'm going to have them go jump into this. I mean, this is a fantastic way to get your feet wet with so many of the different tools, not just the HashiCorp tools, but you know, this is fantastic.
You know,
Yeah.
with VS
Job
Code
well
in
done.
there, with VS Code, that they can literally just change the main.tf in the local stack, and you'll see in the CodeSpace when it prints out the message of the day, there's how to get Terraform up and running. It does a Terraform format, plan, and apply, and then they can use the AWS local pip utility to kind of get their AWS resources, but from the local stack. And so you are welcome, and like you know, this is for me because it marries this Git and the VS Code, the IDE, and the plan and apply together. And this whole thing is the secret sauce.
Awesome, very cool. I'm sorry. What would you say? Go into the modify which main file?
If you go into local stack, there's a local stack folder.
There we go. A, B, C, D, E. Yep.
And it's main.tf.
Correct. So in the main.tf, you'll see there's a null resource. But if you scroll down a little bit, then a little bit more down, there's a AWS S3 bucket. See my bucket. They're on line 61. So they can literally go and muck around there, and then after they've run the you know, the bash local stack.sh, it'll download Terraform, and so then they can do Terraform plan and apply here, and they can look at the state, you know, without leaking credentials or anything like that. They can really go, so what is the state? Well, here's the state. Let's delete the state and see what happens. And that's where these guys like really get, okay, so this is what the state is. This is why we need it, you know.
That's why we needed state file. Oopsie.
Yes.
Oh, that thing was important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we shouldn't check it into GitHub, you know what I mean? Because your secrets are in there. And then there's modules. So if you click on modules, there's a modules.tf as well. So here I'm integrating Vault and Console. So there's a folder modules, and there I've just made a HashiCorp Vault. And so then in Vault, I'm showing you, well, how do you create a secret in KV? Well, you need to enable the secret, and then you know, then I do it like that. And the next up is boundary, how to make these targets. And then see, so there is their resources, and there's a link at the top where they can go to the resource on the HashiCorp website, and you know, this is their okay, wow, check this out. You can now configure Vault with Terraform.
Dude, this is so much work that you've done. This is fantastic.
It's 4 years. It's been going for 4 years now. So
oh, good, and you've got a lot of people contributing to it. I'm glad to see that.
Yes. Yes, you know, but it's growing very organically, you know, and it's just cool because, you know, it's there to help people, you know.
Yeah. I can't wait to dive into this and start contributing to it myself. This is fantastic stuff.
So if you just go to the CodeSpace, right? If you scroll up and you click on now in that same window you were just now.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yes, and you drop down by the code, the green button there that says open. Just drop it down. Yeah, and then if you click on the hamburger menu next to the CodeSpace. So if you just click there, configure machine type. A little bit up, there. Configure machine type. So
change machine. Yep.
The normal machine is 8 gig, 2 cores, and it'll run Consul, Jenkins even, and Boundary and Nomad, all of these things together, and Terraform happily. But once you start bringing Minikube online, and you now want to land GitLab or Apache Airflow with DBT, or you want to land AWX Ansible Tower on
Start
there,
bogging it down. You need to bump it up.
It'll crash. It'll just restart, and you'll see you hit the ceiling. You cannot go any further. But then you change the machine type, and then you can quite happily, with 16 gig RAM, deploy AWX Ansible Tower on top of Minikube, you know, and you can bring up the Prometheus and the Grafana on top of, and then do the telemetry thing, you know.
I'm just going to update it now. Just get it over with.
So, and then you have to click, I think you have to click stop CodeSpace. After you've updated it, you have to stop your CodeSpace.
Has been upgraded.
CodeSpace.
Changes will take effect the next time your CodeSpace restarts. Okay, I'll let it die and fire it back up again when it's ready. Nice.
Yes.
So for the sake of clarity, the lowest one gets you 60 hours free on a personal plan. As you increase the resources of that code space, the free time is reduced. So just be mindful. No one likes an unexpected cloud bill.
Yes.
You're absolutely right, Damien. Thank you. I need to stop. I need to stop acting like I could just hose free credits at everybody.
I mean, you can do what you want, Chris. Live your life, man. Be the man you're meant to be, buddy.
Do whatever you want to do. Just go bananas.
Live your truth.
It's not like money is real anyway, right? So you can do whatever you want. Use the biggest instance for everything.
The Azure Terraformer is saying too much AWS stuff.
I know.
All right, you
Someone
come on.
Keep us on the straight and narrow.
All right. Well, let's see if anybody in the audience has any questions. If there's anybody that actually wanted to ask Riaan any questions, money is a database. That actually, you know what? That's not far from. If you fire up a 128 core RDS instance prepaid, you're going to be spending a chunk of change on that. John Harbin is here too. Hey, John Harbin. Some old friends from previous gigs and different community events are showing up this evening to check out the lab.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Cool.
So what is next for HashiCube? I saw that there was a couple of issues, but do you have plans to do other things with it? Are you going to add any more tools to it?
Definitely, what's in my line of sight is I want to get this domain whitelisted on Ansible. So the new version that I've tried didn't start up properly, and I tried to pass it with customize onto Minikube, but it also did not register. So that's the next thing for me. And then some more integrations. I want to definitely get stuck on Boundary. I've only used it a little bit, but I've not got any code there into Boundary yet. So if you run Boundary, it will configure it and give you a login where you can log in, but there's no targets configured. And Boundary is such a nice tool. I mean, that is very much the next thing in my line of sight that I want to get going on to configure some, because now it's nice. You can literally SSH onto that Docker container, because Boundary targets, and there's a database running on there, so you can, get that tunnel going from your local. So that's the next thing, and hopefully that'll close out my year for me. And then next year it's onward and upward. If I get more integrations that I run into, I'd love to just keep on plugging it in, because you don't have to run everything together.
Right,
you can
right.
Just, if you want to run it, maybe a GitLab pipeline to get this Terraform cloud integration going and show people how that stuff is done, and maybe just get a little bit more use cases for people. I want to put the GitLab in there so that people in Terraform can bring up GitLab repositories or teams or projects, and things like that is in the near future.
A couple of quick questions. So Mark is asking, what are the min specs to run all of this? How quick does it burn? Well, you said that if you fire up everything, you need to be running the 16 gig environment, yeah?
Correct. And to tell you the truth, I've not run everything together. I've run the Airflow and DBT and Ansible Tower on Minikube and Waypoint. Over there, but also if you start putting too much services, no amount of RAM in the world will be enough.
Yeah,
the 16
sure.
gig, I also topped out on that one. So you see.
I was going to say, Mark, the answer is find out and get back to us. Fire it up, light up all of the services, and then you tell us what's the most expensive box you're able to run it on.
Yeah, and it's not just CodeSpaces that this runs on. This can also run locally if you've got some gear available to you, or it's relatively portable. It can run in any cloud. So, it doesn't just have to be CodeSpaces. You could throw the entirety of US East 1 at it and see what happens.
Yeah, so when I develop it, I kind of run it on my laptop, and then it's what you give the Docker daemon. So usually I give it about 12 gig or 16 gig, whatever the case may be, and then it flows quite super quick.
Another question from Mark is, how hard is it to integrate this with app development if I wanted to build and register multiple services to console, for example?
So it's not very, very difficult at all. There's an example of Waypoint using a Node.js, a little Node.js app that then has a Nomad job that deploys this thing onto Nomad or into Kubernetes using Waypoint. But there is even a T-Rex app in there. So if you go bash T-Rex/T-Rex.sh, it'll bring up a little Node.js app. And that's the spacebar browser. When your Google Chrome doesn't have internet access.
Yeah.
It's the little T-Rex app that you can jump over and, under the birds and stuff. So for app development, and I mean, this is a buffet. So you could kind of cherry pick what you need out of this. The dev container is quite important, and you can then customize this to your liking. The Docker Compose will be of value, and the Docker file certainly. But once you've got the dev container, the Docker Compose, and the Docker file, you are then free to change that Docker file to, let's say, bring up Node.js and rip out all of the other stuff, because I bring up systemd. But if you wanted to do .NET or Python or anything like that, the recipe stays the same. The ingredients are going to change.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm currently playing T-Rex. No, I'm not.
I lose like minutes on that game. I'm like, it's working. I need to come on.
Well, the internet's down. I can't do anything anyway. Might as well play T-Rex.
And then you realize the internet isn't actually down. It's just your T-Rex app that you're playing. It's procrastinating.
Mr. Nolan strikes again.
It's been so much fun, because I'm curious by nature, and no one knows everything. Like, I mean, at a stage, also building Dockers for multiple architectures was foreign to me. I didn't know it, but this lab, what it's done is it's given me like a drop-in environment to really do stupid stuff. Delete the vault data there, or delete your state file, and see what happens if you break it, and then if I break it and I can't get it up again, then I'm just going to trash it, check out master again, and off I go. And I find that I learn a lot easier by doing. And it's also fun, to see these things like fall over in the weirdest and wonderful ways. It's so funny to laugh at it. And it's been like really a lot of fun for me,
That's great.
This is fantastic. I'm sorry, Damon, I interrupted you.
I was just saying, no, it's really great. And then I was thinking a cautionary tale is, please do not commit any secrets or license files to a public repo.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll have regrets,
Very much so. So if this is why pre-commit is so important. So in my other projects, like the GIB, the Golden Image Builder, and the Terraform Modules library, which is actually a development framework for multiple repositories.
Yeah.
So I've got another dev container there with pre-commit. So let's say you are a guy or a company that writes a couple of modules, and you want to apply the static code analysis in mass onto these libraries. Well, then you can use my Terraform Modules library. It comes with a dev container with pre-commit rules from Anton Babenko. Brilliant stuff. And it's got a little module promotion thing. So everything in a monorepo, but then there's a .module-version file where you put your tag in, and this pipeline will promote it for you onto its own little micro repository, But that is why pre-commit is so important, because these days it's so easy just to hit commit, add everything, and off you go. And there goes your secret along with it.
Yep. Yep. Make sure you add it to git ignore or whatever. But yeah, I actually had a private repo that I was using for some backend V brown bag development, the automation that runs behind the scenes, and there was a secret that was committed to it, and I was being extra paranoid. It's actually kind of fun using a tool called it's BFG Repo Blaster or something. It like goes out and like pulls the actual commits and all the references to it out. It's pretty cool how it works. But yes, don't be me, because then I recommitted the same secret right back to it after I cleaned it out. So I had to do it twice.
Yeah, but we are humans, right?
Yeah.
This is complex. This stuff is complex. This is the thing. It's not like you did anything wrong. You were just being a human, a happy human that commit code.
The universe found a bigger idiot and said, "Go do this secret twice to the same repo."
Sally, you and me both, man.
I will have you both know that I've never committed actually, that's not true. The first time I got that email from GitHub where they say, "Hey, dumbass, we've noticed that you've got something that could potentially be a password in there. You might want to take a look at your." I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do this time?"
Oh yes, it's there.
It happens to the best of us.
Indeed.
We are all human, wonderful, happy humans.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is that. All right. Normally, this is the point of the evening where we randomly select somebody from the studio audience to give away AWS compute credits. But I'm making a game day call right now. Mr. Nolan, the very least that we can do to say thank you for doing this is to give you the compute credits this evening. So congratulations.
Can I donate it to someone in the audience?
I tell you what, I will give you the compute credits to do with what you want, but this is our thank you. This is our open source contribution to you. Instead,
really kind of you. I do need it,
There you go. Then I will ping you on the back channel. I'll get you the credits, and thank you for coming on. This is an amazing tool that I'm going to spread far and wide. You deserve all of the accolades that you get for this achievement. It's fantastic.
It is.
I'm glad you like it, and thank you for having me on your show. And Damien, so nice to meet you. It's an honor for me. You guys have got a really famous YouTube channel, and so it's been so nice. Thank you for having me.
It's not famous.
It's not famous.
Those videos, you can scroll and scroll and scroll. You've got so much content. It is incredible.
Yeah. I was actually joking with Chris earlier today that we need to do more viral things.
Yes.
But it's really hard to be viral about technology, right? Like,
we're not going to do any spicy hot takes and just offend 50% of the world just to get a spicy hot take. Oh, and look, everybody is saying all of the audience attendees agree with my call that we should give you the credits. So everybody is saying that you absolutely deserve them.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and looking at this lab. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Riaan, your enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah,
I love it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're a very cheerful human being. It's also morning. You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So.
Yeah.
3 coffees, 4 coffees in. You can't help but be happy, eh?
Oh man. All right,
I'm living your last night right now. That's what I'm doing. It's 8:30 p.m. for me.
Riaan's in the future, man. This is how happy things are in the future. This is amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Thursday.
We're going to end the stream so that we can get you the credits. Riaan, hold on. Everybody else, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, y'all.
Cheers, guys.